Hi, Gemini. I just did this reading. I was talking about how we're going to go through a retrograde, how technology is going to mess up. And guess what happened? Didn't record. And then I was talking about how we're not going to get mad this month. You know, we're going to control our tempers. Can you see me controlling my temper right now? I really am. So let's try this again. Hi, Gemini. How are you? Good? Good. I'm doing well as well, thank you. We've got some really good things coming up. We've got Venus and Mars in the 9th house. Love. Travel. We love to travel. We have full moon in our sign later in the month. Yay. We're feeling ourselves, right? We're doing it. So what do we have to be careful of this month? Things are going pretty well for us. Things have been going very well for us. Last month was great. Hopefully most of us met someone we can relate to, someone we like. Right? And now this month we're asked to look past that. Look past it to the reality of what it means to be with someone, what it means to be in a relationship, what it means to be successful at work, and not just our version of what it means. What am I trying to say? You know, we can build up an image of what we think someone is like, and then when we find out the reality of what they are, we can be very disappointed. Not because that person lied to us, but because we kind of built them up in our heads as something that they never really told us they were. We had no evidence for what we thought. It's just that we're so smart that we infer things, we deduce, you know, we make deductions, and then we think, okay, well, you know, 2 and 2 is 4, so this is how this person is, great. And then when they don't turn out to be that way, we can feel very, very betrayed. But not by them, but by ourselves, right? By our tendency to jump to conclusions. And then if things don't go well, if the conclusion we jump to isn't right and we are disillusioned, then the loving, understanding twin, you know, takes a seat and the one who can cut your head off comes in real fast. So this month we're really being called to not do that. Because everyone is going through a slowdown this month. Makes sense. There's going to be a retrograde. It's the end of the year. Time to take stock. But also because we are standing on the precipice of love, right? We are meeting people who could potentially be this guy, this girl, you know, this guy, this girl. And the world is supporting us. The universe is supporting us in this. And so it becomes incumbent on us now to understand that even when people disappoint us, even when people don't turn out to be exactly the way we thought they were, it doesn't mean that it's time to cut them out. It doesn't mean that you give up all hope on them. And it certainly doesn't mean that you should be cutting to them. You know, we do have a tendency to have the ability to cut people pretty deep. Most people misinterpret that as us not having feelings, right? Like I talked about last month. Now, the flip side of that is that the reason people think we have no feelings is because once we feel betrayed, once we feel, and not even by the person, but once we feel betrayed by our own version of what we thought that person was, we can get very, very angry and we can be very cruel. Right? Because we just distance ourselves. Once that distance is there, sorry, Mercury retrograde, can't talk. The shadow has already come over us. Once that distance is there, it's not to be too harsh, because you know I'm a Gemini myself. I'm not trying to be too harsh, but once there's distance, dehumanization is possible. When you look at someone as being so disappointing to you, you can dehumanize them. And then once you do that, then there's a tendency to really be mean. then we can be very cruel. So this month we're asked to pull back on that. Pull back on that twin that's eager to go to war and let her take a vacation. And let the nice one have a say. But see, the nice one goes running when she thinks that she's been wronged, when she thinks she's been lied to, when she thinks someone's taking advantage of her. And she, calls her twin sister like, you better come take care of this. We're being called to leave the quote-unquote evil twin, which we know isn't true. It's just the one that doesn't give a fuck. We're asked to leave her on vacation this month and be the softer feeling twin that can get real close to someone, even if they don't turn out to be exactly what we thought. It really is about compassion and understanding. Because when you get to a place where you have reached higher ground, where you are successful at work, where you are successful in your career, where you do feel really good about yourself, full moon in our house, feeling ourselves. When we are at that point, it is required of us to be extremely compassionate and humble. So, because lest we, lose hold of ourselves and become totally egomaniacal, we know that's not going to work out for anybody, because we have a hard enough time being around other people that are egomaniacal. When we start to get all into our egos, we've seen a couple of Geminis do that this month, haven't we? Who've completely self-destructed. So let's not do that. Let's keep ourselves in check by being extremely humble, right? Someone who focuses on their work not because they're superior and their work makes them superior or their money makes them superior, but just focuses on their work as a way to keep their head down and get through what can be a potentially not rocky but trying period. Let's put it that way. So there will be some realizations about the person we're into, the person we love, the person we're attracted to, the person we were fantasizing about. There will be some realizations about that person that make you go, what? Really? I thought he was like this, or I thought she was like this. Right. Operative word being thought. Right? Not necessarily true. It's what we thought it was. So no need to take it out on the person, because the person wasn't actually deceptive. We jumped the gun. We jumped to conclusions, right? So let's pull that back and let's not get upset with people when we find out that they're not exactly what we thought they were. Just because something comes wrapped in a different wrapping paper than you wanted doesn't mean that the present isn't just as good. You just have to get past the wrapping. You have to get past your disappointment of, you didn't guess the wrapping paper right. So it is a little bit about ego, and we really need to keep our egos in check when we're doing well. It's when Geminis are doing well that they spiral out of control. Because when they're not doing well, they turn into like real go-getters. We really get on the ball. We want to make things happen. But as soon as things start to go really well, that's when we start to split off, because we get comfortable. And the worst sides of our nature start to show, because there isn't something to strive against. There's nothing to be reactive to. So in order to guard ourselves from that, we must cultivate a very grounded energy. Now, how do you do that? As a Gemini, how do you ground yourself? I think simply the way you ground yourself is just to know that not every reaction calls for the 1-2 Gemini punch. Nice twin, bad twin. Nice twin, mean twin. Nice twin. We don't need to do that. Not every situation calls for a fight or flight response, and ours is always fight. We don't need that. We don't need to do that in every situation. That in and of itself will be grounding enough that it will get us through December without anything too painful happening, right? So Venus and Mars in our 9th house. There's a lot of love here, okay? There's the 2 of Cups. There's the 10 of Cups. Take a look, right? There's all kinds of cards of luck, of love, of being supported, hard work, money to be made, winning, emotional victory, emotional security, reaching higher ground. And in true Gemini fashion, all these great cards, and then boom, one really intimidating card. Well, it makes sense, It's not the easiest thing when you find out that someone isn't who you thought they were, that you put a lot of work into something that maybe wasn't exactly the way you thought it was. But does that negate these gold coins? Does that make it any less valuable? You know, if this person doesn't turn out to be exactly who you wanted him to be, does this make this any less pleasurable? If this person doesn't turn out to be exactly who you wanted her to be, does that make it any less pleasurable? Right? So we are called to cultivate within ourselves a much more grounded sort of practical energy for the month of December, because what we're asked to do now is forgive people for things that we would not usually forgive people for. Okay? We can be very understanding when things are going on. We can be very, oh, I can see it from your point of view, sure. But when it comes to somebody not telling us the whole truth, when it comes to somebody trying to manipulate us or deceive us, we get real vindictive, right? And we're being called this month not to do that, because there are things that we need to forgive and let go of. And as long as you're still being reactive and vindictive, you're not letting it go, right? So this is a time of really, the universe is going to make you let go, whether you want to or not. It's all up to you. It's like that Zen expression, let go or be dragged. That's absolutely what's happening here. And with this Mercury retrograde coming up, we really, we have our hands tied, and we go through this 3 or 4 times a year, so we know how it feels. We know what it is. But it doesn't make it any less hard, does it? It doesn't make it any less palatable that things don't work out the way we want. Now, here's the thing to remember. Good things are moving fast for us. Things are moving super fast. And how do we keep control of the reins when things are moving very, very fast? You would think it would be by holding them tighter and trying to pull those horses back. But no, it's not. In this case, maintaining your composure means letting go of the reins. If it's going to move fast, let it move fast. Don't get in its way. Don't try to control this situation, okay? Because you can't, right? There's lots of good luck here that wants to come to you, and it's going to come to you very quickly. However, you must have the eyes to see it, Gemini. Okay? Now, what else is going on? Aside from the Mercury retrograde and the full moon, there is this idea of needing to let go of a larger plan for your life and how you thought it was supposed to go. There is a real need here to submit. This is a card of making people submit when they don't want to, when they must, when they absolutely must. There is no way around it. Okay? So that's what comes up for you in terms of what happens in December. It's a new way to look at things. How can I be compassionate even when I feel really hurt? How can I be fair even when I feel really hurt? What am I going to let go of and forgive here? This is also very easily a Libra who's interested in you, but perhaps you're not so interested in him. Perhaps what you've done is you've already made up your mind that things can only happen one way. And I know that doesn't sound like a very Gemini thing to do, but I do sense here that once, and I know it from myself, that once we get something in our head, nothing else will do. Right? Now that's not a very fluid, mutable sign way to be. And the more we hang on to things that we have some sort of fantastical association with, where we don't even really know what that person is really like, we just know what we've projected onto them. When we start having a relationship like that, everything turns into a monstrous unknown. There's no security or stability to a relationship like that. So, no point in getting in one like that, right? Instead, keeping your head down, not looking left or right, and just doing the work. Don't judge anybody. Don't get upset when people show you. Don't turn into this girl. Don't turn into this woman when people show you their worst sides, or when people show you that there was more to tell you but they didn't tell you. Okay, when their bad qualities start to show, don't turn into this person. But don't pay anyone too much mind. Keep on your own track of self-growth, right? Because that's how Geminis are. We have these epiphanies, right? We have epiphanies all the time. We're coming to new understandings all the time. Oh, okay, I get it. Yeah, that's right. That's how that is. Like everyone I've gotten readings for, and then the bottom of the deck is the same as it was in the last shuffle. Basically, the cards are the same too. So we really have super, super, super good stuff coming up for us. The only thing that we need to do is we need to be cognizant of our tendency to run when we start to get what we want, to run when we start to feel that maybe we're being betrayed, to run when we get scared in any way, right? For us, running is a source of strength. It's like, no, this person is too much for me, I'm going to go, right? But in this case, what we're being asked to do is we're being asked to sit still and observe this person and watch this person do what they're doing in relation to us before we make a judgment. So hold off on the judgment, because right now your vision is a little bit cloudy, right? And in the meantime, what will happen is you'll cultivate a sense of compassion, because every time you deal with someone who is different from you and who could essentially really upset you with the way that they act, and you give them the benefit of the doubt and you give them the understanding of saying, okay, well, this is a completely different human being from a completely different, place, and this is how they act. That will breed compassion within you, okay? Once you feel compassionate inside, you will start to reflect that on the outside, and you will also receive compassion from the people around you, right? Whatever we want to visualize, whatever we want to manifest, we have to first visualize it in a way that we get the feeling in us, right? So this leads very seamlessly into the conversation that I'm having with every sign about what is the best way for them to meditate. So for us as Geminis, the best way for us to meditate is simply to visualize, because we have very vivid imaginations, and so for us it works very, very well. Now, what do I mean by visualization? So you know where you are right now, but you also know where you want to be, right? So the gap between where you are and where you want to be, there is a road, but you can't see that road. You don't know how you're going to get there. You don't know what the vehicle is going to be, but you know that when you get there, you will have a certain thing, a certain way of looking, a certain way of behaving, a certain way of living, right? So that could translate from something like, I'll be wearing designer clothes, to I'll have this kind of house, right? There is that. Now, once you build that visualization in your head, what you're actually trying to do is not focus on the visualization at all. What you're actually trying to do is use the visualization to produce a certain feeling in the body. Excuse me. So, producing a certain feeling in the body. So, for example, if I'm wearing super, super nice clothes, something that's so tailored and fit perfectly to you that it feels like you're wearing a t-shirt, even though you're wearing an evening dress, right? When you have a fantastic bag, when you have a fantastic pair of shoes, when you're surrounded by, fantastic, interesting people, what does it feel like? That feeling of attractiveness, that feeling of accomplishment, that feeling of being sexy. That's what we're trying to recreate, so we can also see that in our externality. Because as soon as we can produce and sustain the emotions in here, they will pop up in our reality. So this, to me, is the funnest way that Geminis can meditate, because it has such great results. And we are very results oriented. A lot of times we'll self-identify as being impatient. I don't think that we're impatient. I think that we care about ourselves. We want things a certain way, And it can be tough for other people to understand that. But the best way that you can use that ability is in this way, where you can sit and dream and think about what it is that would be perfect for you, right? And as you keep watching that, as you watch that little mini movie, you will have certain feelings. When you have certain feelings, those feelings will manifest right away on your externality, in your external world. So for us, meditation is super, super, super simple. It's about sitting still for 15 minutes every day and literally imagining the life that you want, okay? Because the rest of it, your physiology basically takes care of. You are extremely smart. You have been born with a very active mind and an active imagination. You are highly suggestible. All these things are what opens us up to the unconscious, to the greater subconscious, right? So, it looks fantastic. It's just not going to be the easiest little bit at the beginning when you're finding out stuff that you don't really want to find out, when the dynamic between you and another person is getting a little bit scratchy. It may not be the best thing. It may not be the best feeling, but I see here in the cards that will actually make you stronger, and it will teach you how not to rely on the killer twin, because the killer twin only knows, two words, like live, die, right? So it's nice to be able to modulate that part of your personality and put a dial on it that you can dial up from 1 to 10 instead of being innocent Gemini, murderous Gemini. We want to find something in the middle where both these twins can coexist without being at odds with each other and without being at odds with the world. Okay? So that's what I think would be great for you in terms of meditation, is just to meditate on that mantra. What's the mantra? What's the thing that you want? What's that feeling you want to feel? Is it that people love me? Is it that I'm respected? Is it that I'm wealthy? What is it? Whatever it is, create an image around that in your mind so you can start to feel it in your heart, because then it will happen, right? So that's the easiest way for Geminis to manifest. Now, having said that, I am wearing another amazing, amazing piece by Shinshaya Jewelers. My friend Cynthia made me this mala from lapis lazuli and crystal quartz. It is beyond wonderful. Honestly, it really is. From the moment I put it on, my readings have been so much more on point. It is the stone of divination. It was considered the stone of divinity in ancient Egypt. Anyone outside of the Pharaoh dynasty was not allowed to, the Pharaoh's family was not allowed to wear the stone at all, right? So it has some deep, deep meanings to it, and it has a very strong energy. And I have to give it up to Cynthia, because what she really does is she takes your energy, and she's kind of like an energetic pathologist, where she'll find what's going on with you, or she'll find the best thing for you and make that into your piece. So for example, she put something up the other day about, it's an agate and citrine mala, and it was gorgeous, right? Citrine is the Gemini stone. So that's something that you could definitely benefit from. I would check it out if I were you. I'm going to leave her website in the information below. So the other thing is, I will be putting up 2 bonus videos. One about how to get your groove back after a breakup. Please enjoy if that's something you're into. And the other is the 8 Gates meditation, which is an ancient Chinese meditation in which one literally flushes the body. Right? You're flushing it with chi, but you're nonetheless flushing it. It goes into your under your skin, into your capillaries, into your bones, into your muscle, behind the heart. It covers all of those, and it also goes into the bone marrow, which is where stem cell growth is activated. So, those things are on the horizon. Okay, please look out for them. And one more thing, I will be doing my January readings from Jamaica. I will not be doing an overview 2017 reading. I don't work that way. But January will be from Jamaica, and it will be beautiful, and I can't wait to share that experience with you guys, and we can all experience it together. And I'm sure the readings will be even more powerful because I'll be near a source of water, and as a Cancer rising, I always feel stronger when I'm near the water. So, I hope that was a good makeup video for the one that got deleted. Actually, I think this one was better because you can kind of sense the frustration in me, right? And that is what this month is going to be about. It's like, you're going to sense the frustration, but don't give into it. You're going to want to fight, but don't get into it. You're going to want to lash out, but don't get into it. Every time that other twin starts to go back, just send her right back out on vacation. She's good. You need a break. Take a break from killing people. We got this over here. Okay? All right? So, thank you for all your support and all your love. And I love doing readings for you guys. I just had a beautiful reading last night with a Gemini. You guys are the best. Thank you for all your support. And yeah, I love you. I'll see you next month.